In an old aquarium's logbook, one entry reads, "The father gave birth." By the end of this video, you'll know how a male seahorse gets pregnant, carries a live brood, and pumps its young into the sea, and why textbooks spent a century insisting that was impossible. Here is the first fact, confirmed and easy to check. In every one of the roughly 40 seahorse species, it is the male that carries the young, not the female. The mother makes the eggs, then hands them off entirely, and the father's belly takes over the pregnancy. That is not a mislabeled specimen or an old sailor's tale. It is the settled biology of a common fish you have seen in every aquarium. A seahorse is a fish, though almost nothing about it looks like one. An upright body, a horse-shaped head, a gripping tail, and eyes that swivel apart like a chameleon's. It swims by fluttering one small fin on its back. So slowly it holds the record for the slowest fish ever measured. But the inversion of who gets pregnant is only the surface. Keep watching, because the part everyone gets wrong is not who carries the young. It is what that pouch actually does to them. The first reports read like errors. Naturalists cutting open seahorses centuries ago kept finding the same thing. A pouch low on the belly, packed with eggs, and later with tiny fully formed young. The obvious conclusion was that this was the mother. For a long time, that is exactly what was written down. The animal carrying the brood must be female. Every other backboned animal on record followed that rule. Then the dissections stopped agreeing with themselves. The pouched seahorses had the internal anatomy of males. The ones producing eggs did not carry them at all. By the 19th century, working under simple microscopes, anatomists confirmed the uncomfortable version. The parent giving birth was the father. The seahorse belongs to the genus Hippocampus, from the Greek for horse and sea monster, a name older than the argument about who carries its young. Observers watched a female approach a male, press her body to his, and deposit her eggs directly into the opening of his pouch. He sealed it. Weeks later, the same male convulsed and expelled a cloud of miniature seahorses into open water. And what happens by the end of this case is stranger than a father simply babysitting eggs, because the pouch is doing something no one expected. First, science had to stop laughing. The easy dismissal was that the male was only a babysitter. Plenty of fish guard their eggs. A father catfish holds them in his mouth. A stickleback fans a nest. Under that reading, the seahorse pouch was just a pocket. The eggs sat in trapped seawater. The male offered shelter and oxygen, and the word pregnant was journalistic exaggeration. Nothing was passing from father to embryo. Nature had simply moved the nursery onto the male and stopped there. It was a tidy explanation, and for decades it held. It also had a problem the skeptics kept underplaying. When a male finally opened his sealed pouch, he did not release eggs into the current for a female to tend. He released as many as 2,000 live, swimming, fully formed young. An entire brood developed to term inside him over about 24 days. That is not guarding a nest. Something inside that sealed pocket was carrying embryos from egg to independent animal. And the fluid around them was not seawater at all. Skeptics could argue about the word pregnancy, but they could not explain why the babies came out finished, or why cutting the pouch open revealed tissue that looked less like a fish's skin and more like the lining of a womb. That last detail is where the case cracks open. A male seahorse gives birth to hundreds of live young at once. So how does a father's body grow them? The answer is the hard evidence that finally ended the babysitter theory. When biologists opened a sealed pouch, they found it is not a simple pocket of trapped seawater. Its inner wall grows dense with blood vessels that press close against each embryo, delivering oxygen and carrying waste away, the same job a mammal's placenta does. The pouch also feeds the young, leaking nutrients and energy-rich fluid straight to them, and it slowly shifts its salt level from body-like to seawater, so the babies are pre-adjusted to the ocean before they are released. So the father is not holding eggs, he is gestating them, running a true pregnancy inside an organ evolution rebuilt from skin. Researchers even watch the machinery run. As the brood matures, the pouch tissue thins, its blood supply multiplies, and prolactin, the very hormone that makes milk in mammals, switches on to manage the whole pregnancy. For a century, biology called a pregnant father impossible. This single organ is the proof it was wrong. And it forces a harder question the skeptics never faced. How does a body carry another individual's offspring for weeks without attacking them? Confirmation came from two directions the original anatomists could never have reached. The first was the rest of the family. Seahorses are not alone. Their close relatives, the pipefishes and the leafy sea dragons, all run male pregnancy too. And in several of them, the brooding organ is even simpler. Eggs cemented to the underside of the male's tail, fed by the same kind of vessel-rich skin. The inversion was not a seahorse fluke. It was the signature of an entire lineage that had rewritten which parent carries the young. The second confirmation came from the genome. In 2016, a research team sequenced the DNA of the tiger-tail seahorse and found the molecular fingerprints of the pouch. Genes switched on in that tissue that build blood vessel networks and transport nutrients, exactly what a placenta needs. They found something else. The seahorse had lost a set of immune genes that in almost every other backboned animal is essential. The very genes that would normally flag the developing brood as foreign tissue and attack it. The father's body does not tolerate the pregnancy by accident. Evolution disabled the alarm. Two independent lines of evidence, anatomy and DNA, pointing at the same impossible sentence in that old logbook. And the field's current position on it is blunter than most people expect. In seahorses, the females are the ones who compete for a mate. The courtship roles are flipped, and that is no accident. This is the part the field now quietly agrees on. Once the father became the one who gets pregnant, everything about how seahorses breed turned over. Because a male can only carry one brood at a time and needs weeks to deliver it, his pouch, not the female's eggs, becomes the limited resource. So in many species, the females grow larger, brighter, and pushier, competing with each other to fill the few available fathers. The consensus is that male pregnancy did not just move the nursery, it inverted sexual selection itself, making the female the courting sex. A common aquarium fish quietly runs the whole textbook on mating in reverse. There is agreement on the deeper timeline too. This system evolved once, in the shared ancestor of seahorses and pipefishes, tens of millions of years ago, and it has never reverted. Labs now study the seahorse pouch as a living model for how any pregnancy, including our own, solves the problem of feeding and tolerating a growing brood. The public still pictures a quirky fish. The field sees one of the clearest cases of a vertebrate breaking evolution's oldest rule about mothers. One thing still has no clean answer. We know evolution disabled the father's immune alarm, so he can carry another animal's offspring for weeks without attacking them. But no one can fully explain how his body still fights off infection in that same open, blood-rich pouch, guarding the brood while its defenses are deliberately switched down. A pregnant father should not work. In seahorses, it has for millions of years, and the ledger on exactly how is still open.